Hi everyone, welcome back to Health Tips 50, the channel where we help you take care of your heart, one smart habit at a time. Today's video might just change what's in your fridge. Can food actually protect your heart after 60? Some people say yes, and the science backs them up. Others still think, I'm too old to change what I eat. Well, what if just one daily food swap could lower your risk of heart disease? Stick with me. Because in the next few minutes, we're revealing 5 golden foods proven to help you maintain a stronger, younger heart without giving up flavor. And hey, before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Health Tips 50. Your support helps us bring you more expert-backed health videos every single week. Now let's get into it, starting with a delicious food that could literally save your heart. One fatty fish, a heart's best friend after 60. When I turned 65, I noticed something I hadn't expected. After nearly every meal, I felt off. Not the pleasantly full feeling you get after a great dinner, but heavy, tired, and sluggish. At first, I chalked it up to aging. Maybe this was just how things were going to be from now on, but deep down, I suspected something else. It was my food. My plate was often loaded with red meat, juicy steaks, crispy bacon, the occasional sausage. Delicious, absolutely. Healthy for my heart, probably not, so I decided to try something different. I didn't overhaul my entire diet or give up everything I loved. Instead, I made one small, consistent change. I swapped out 2 meat-heavy dinners each week for fatty fish, wild salmon most of the time, sometimes sardines or mackerel. I kept it simple. Sometimes I grilled it with lemon and herbs, other times I baked it over a bed of vegetables. Within 3 months, I felt the difference. My energy came back, I didn't have that afternoon slump, and the kicker, my cholesterol dropped by 18% without a single pill, just fish. But this isn't just my story. The benefits of fatty fish after 60 are backed by decades of research. Fatty fish is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These are not the kind of fats you should fear. In fact, they're what I like to call heart heroes. They lower triglycerides, reduce inflammation, and help keep your heart rhythm steady. That last part is especially important as we get older, because aging hearts are more vulnerable to irregular beats and sudden cardiac events. The American Heart Association actually recommends eating fatty fish at least twice a week, not because it's trendy, but because studies show it can lower your risk of sudden cardiac death by up to 35%. That's not hype, that's data. I've seen it firsthand in others too. One of my patients, a 68-year-old woman, had been dealing with high cholesterol and occasional arrhythmias for years. Instead of starting her on medication right away, we began with her diet. She swapped her usual meat-heavy dinners for baked salmon, grilled sardines, and the occasional tuna steak. 12 weeks later, her LDL cholesterol had dropped by 25 points. Even better, her resting heart rate had finally stabilized. No more racing heartbeat, no more random palpitations. And here's something many people overlook. Omega-3s don't just help your heart, they're good for your brain too. Studies suggest that these healthy fats support memory, reduce brain fog, and may even help slow cognitive decline. So when you eat fatty fish, you're protecting more than just your heart, you're investing in your mind. That's why I like to challenge people with a few questions. Are you still avoiding fats because of outdated diet advice from the 1980s? When was the last time your dinner left you feeling satisfied and energized, not sluggish? Would you be willing to replace just 2 red meat meals this week with fish? Because sometimes the smallest changes make the biggest difference. And if taste is your concern, let me tell you, fatty fish is surprisingly versatile. You can grill it, bake it, toss it into a salad, or mix it with avocado for a heart-friendly spread. You don't have to sacrifice flavor to take care of your heart. I've learned that after 60, your body will reward you for every smart choice you make. And in my case, those 2 nights a week with salmon on my plate have paid off more than I could have imagined. Up next, we're keeping it simple but powerful. I'm going to tell you about one humble grain that can lower cholesterol without a single pill: oats. Stick around, because your heart deserves every advantage you can give it. 2. Oats, a simple breakfast that loves your heart. Let's talk about breakfast, the meal that quietly sets the tone for your entire day. When I was 62, my mornings looked like a comfortable routine I'd followed for decades. A slice of warm buttery toast, maybe a sweet pastry from the bakery down the street, and of course, a steaming cup of strong coffee. It felt cozy, it felt familiar. But when my cardiologist reviewed my lab results, he didn't share my enthusiasm. My cholesterol was climbing, my blood sugar wasn't ideal, and he gently suggested I make some changes. I wasn't ready for a complete diet overhaul. I just wanted to take one step in the right direction, so I made a single change, and it made all the difference. I swapped out my toast and pastry for a warm bowl of rolled oats. Nothing fancy, just oats cooked with water or milk, topped with fresh berries, a sprinkle of cinnamon, and a few crushed walnuts. Within 6 weeks, my LDL cholesterol, the bad kind, dropped by 12 points. No medication, no extreme diets, just one small breakfast shift. Now you might be wondering, what is it about oats that makes them so powerful for heart health? The secret lies in a special type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan, if you could see it in action. You'd imagine a sponge moving through your digestive system, binding to cholesterol, and carrying it out of your body before it ever reaches your bloodstream. Less cholesterol traveling through your blood means less buildup in your arteries and a lower risk of heart attacks or strokes. This isn't just another passing nutrition trend, it's backed by decades of research. In fact, a 2021 study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that consuming just 3 grams of beta-glucan daily, about what you get in a single serving of oats, can lower LDL cholesterol by about 7% in as little as 6 weeks. That's a substantial result from a small, consistent habit. But here's the thing, not all oats are created equal. If you're serious about protecting your heart, choose rolled oats or steel-cut oats. These are minimally processed and packed with the fiber your body needs. Instant oat packets, on the other hand, are often loaded with added sugars, artificial flavors, and other fillers. Those extras can cause blood sugar spikes, increase inflammation, and undo the very benefits you're looking for, especially important to avoid after 60. I remember one of my patients, a 71-year-old woman who started her mornings with white bread and jam. She'd feel hungry again within an hour, her energy would dip by mid-morning, and her cholesterol numbers were far from ideal. I suggested she try overnight oats, rolled oats soaked in milk, topped with sliced banana and just a touch of honey. Within 2 months, her LDL cholesterol had dropped, her morning walks felt easier, and she no longer experienced that mid-morning crash. The beauty of oats is in their simplicity. They're affordable, versatile, and easy to prepare. You can cook them on the stove, make them overnight in the fridge, or even bake them into a healthy breakfast bar. Add fresh fruit for antioxidants, nuts for healthy fats, or a dash of cinnamon for flavor without sugar. The combinations are endless, and so are the benefits. So let me ask you, what's in your breakfast bowl right now? Is it something that's quietly supporting your heart, or is it slowly working against it? If you replace just one breakfast this week with a bowl of oats, how might your body respond? Could a simple habit like this show up as real improvement in your next set of lab results? The truth is, your heart doesn't need dramatic, complicated changes to thrive. What it needs is consistent, thoughtful choices, and breakfast is the perfect place to start. Every morning offers you the chance to protect your heart, fuel your body, and set yourself up for a healthier day. In the next part of this series, we'll add a burst of color to your plate and a big boost to your heart health. We're talking about berries. They're sweet, satisfying, and scientifically proven to protect your heart. You won't want to miss it. 3 berries, tiny fruits, big heart protection. If there's one thing I wish I'd learned sooner, maybe in my 50s, it's this. Your heart loves color. Not just any color, but the deep reds, purples, and blues you see in berries. Those rich, jewel-like shades aren't just beautiful, they're nature's way of signaling powerful health benefits. For most of my life, I thought berries were simply a sweet treat, something you'd sprinkle on a dessert or toss into a fruit salad. I figured they might help with digestion, maybe give me some vitamin C, but that was about it. What I didn't realize is that berries are some of the most potent heart-protecting foods you can eat. They're small, but they're mighty. The secret lies in a special group of antioxidants called anthocyanins. These compounds are what give berries their vivid colors, the deep blues of blueberries, the vibrant reds of strawberries, the ink-eye purples of blackberries. But they don't just make berries look appealing, they actively protect your cardiovascular system. Anthocyanins help reduce inflammation throughout the body, shield the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, and slow down the buildup of plaque in your arteries. In other words, they help keep your blood flowing smoothly and your heart working efficiently. And this isn't just marketing hype, the science is solid. A landmark 2013 study from Harvard University tracked nearly 94,000 women over an 18-year period. The results were striking. Women who ate berries at least 3 times per week had a 32% lower risk of heart attacks compared to those who rarely ate them. That's not a small improvement, that's a 1/3 reduction in risk. For something as serious as a heart attack, that's a life-changing difference. You also don't have to eat buckets of berries to see benefits. Just a small serving several times a week can make a real difference. I learned this the hard way. In my early 60s, my afternoon snack usually meant cookies or crackers, quick, easy, and full of sugar. They gave me a short burst of energy, but within an hour I'd feel sluggish and unfocused. Then I made a simple swap. I started keeping a bag of frozen blueberries in my freezer, around 3 p.m. When that energy dip hit, I'd grab a handful. No cooking, no prep, just rinse them quickly and enjoy. The change was subtle at first. I felt less weighed down, my energy steadier. But over the months, my cholesterol numbers improved, and I began to understand the power of small, consistent choices. There are so many easy ways to add berries to your day. Sprinkle a handful into plain Greek yogurt for breakfast that actually supports your arteries. Toss them into a smoothie with oats, almond milk, and a dash of cinnamon for a creamy, dessert-like drink your cardiologist would be proud of. Or simply eat them on their own fresh when they are in season. Frozen when they're not. The beauty of frozen berries is that they're picked at peak ripeness, locking in flavor and nutrients, and they're available year-round. One of my clients, a 74-year-old man, once told me something I'll never forget. He said, "I always thought fruit was just sugar. I had no idea it could actually help repair my arteries." And he's not alone. Many people lump all sugars together, assuming they're equally harmful. But the natural sugar in berries is very different from the refined sugar in cookies, candy, or soda. Berries deliver their sweetness wrapped in fiber, antioxidants, and a host of vitamins and minerals that work with your body, not against it. That fiber slows the release of sugar into your bloodstream, preventing the spikes and crashes that processed snacks can cause. So here's the takeaway: color equals protection. The deeper and richer the color, the more powerful the benefit. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, they're not just pretty, they're protective. Every time you eat them, you're feeding your body compounds that actively defend your heart. And the best part, the benefits start working right away, not years down the line. Think about your next snack. Is it something that will help your heart or something that might harm it? What if, just by replacing your usual processed snack with a handful of berries, you could measurably lower your risk of heart disease? That's the kind of change you don't need willpower for, because it's simple, satisfying, and delicious. Your heart doesn't need extreme measures. It needs steady, thoughtful choices repeated over time. And adding berries to your daily routine is one of the easiest, most enjoyable ways to start. Next, we'll move on to something you might already have in your pantry, something small, crunchy, and often overlooked, but incredibly powerful when it comes to heart health: nuts and seeds. You won't want to miss it. 4. Nuts and seeds, the crunch your heart craves. When most people think about eating for heart health, they picture grilled salmon, a plate of leafy greens, or maybe a warm bowl of oats. Those are all great choices, but there's something else, something small, unassuming, and often overlooked, that deserves a spot on that plate. I'm talking about the handful of almonds, walnuts, or chia seeds quietly sitting in your pantry. They might just be your heart's best defense after the age of 60. I'll be honest with you, I didn't give nuts and seeds much thought until I was well into my late 60s. For most of my adult life, I was focused on the usual rules: cut the fat, watch the carbs, avoid the salt. It wasn't until I started digging deeper into the science that I realized I had been ignoring one of the simplest, most powerful tools for protecting my heart: healthy fats from nuts and seeds. These tiny nutritional powerhouses are far more than just a crunchy snack. Nuts like almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, along with seeds such as chia, flax, and pumpkin seeds, are loaded with heart-loving nutrients. They're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which help lower blood pressure and protect against irregular heartbeats. They're packed with magnesium, which supports healthy artery function and helps your heart keep a steady rhythm. They offer plant-based protein that keeps your muscles strong without the cholesterol that comes with meat. And then there's the fiber, an often overlooked nutrient that binds to cholesterol in your digestive system and helps sweep it out of the body naturally. This isn't just theory or wishful thinking. Decades of research back it up. One of the most respected studies in the field, published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2013, followed more than 100,000 people over the course of 30 years. The findings were crystal clear. Those who ate just one handful of nuts a day had a 20% lower risk of dying from heart disease. Think about that: not a drastic diet overhaul, not expensive supplements, just one handful of nuts. In my own life, I've made small but lasting changes. I no longer top my salads with croutons. Instead, I sprinkle pumpkin seeds or crushed walnuts for a satisfying crunch. I keep a small glass jar of mixed nuts in the kitchen, not just as an emergency snack, but as a daily ritual, something I do for my heart as much as for my taste buds. If you're wondering how to make this habit stick, here are a few simple, practical ideas. Add chia seeds to your morning oatmeal for extra fiber and staying power. Keep a small bag of unsalted almonds in your purse or car so you're not tempted by chips or candy when hunger strikes. Stir a spoonful of ground flaxseed into your yogurt or smoothie. You won't even notice the flavor, but your arteries will. I often ask my clients, what are the snacks hiding in your pantry doing to your heart? Are they quietly harming it, or are they giving it the nourishment it needs to keep going strong? One of my longtime clients, Joe, a 72-year-old retired teacher, once told me he avoided nuts for years because he thought they were too fatty. He was sure they would raise his cholesterol. But when he finally made the switch, trading his afternoon cookies for a handful of walnuts, the results spoke for themselves. Within 2 months, his HDL, the so-called good cholesterol, had gone up and his blood pressure had dropped by 8 points. No medication changes, no complicated diet, just one small, consistent change. That's the real secret here. It's not the big, dramatic overhauls that usually change our health. It's the little things we do every single day. Choosing a handful of nuts over a processed snack, adding seeds to your breakfast instead of sugar. Making these swaps consistently is what builds lasting results. And here's the best part, you're not giving up flavor or satisfaction. Nuts and seeds bring richness, crunch, and depth to meals and snacks, all without the guilt or harm. They're proof that heart-healthy eating can be just as enjoyable as it is nourishing. So the next time you're hungry between meals, reach for the jar of almonds or walnuts instead of the bag of chips. Your heart will notice the difference. And in the years to come, you just might be grateful for that simple choice you made, one handful at a time. Up next, we'll bring everything together with a golden ingredient straight from the Mediterranean, one that adds incredible flavor, fights inflammation, and has been called liquid heart protection. Extra virgin olive oil. 5. If there's one thing I never allow to run out in my kitchen, it's extra virgin olive oil. Not because it looks nice on the counter, not because it makes me feel fancy, but because it's one of the simplest and most powerful ways I know to protect my heart. I don't treat it as a luxury ingredient. I treat it as daily medicine, delicious medicine. People in the Mediterranean have been calling it liquid gold for centuries. They didn't have clinical trials back then, but they had something just as powerful, generations of observation. They saw their parents and grandparents live long, active lives, and they passed down the tradition of cooking, dressing, and even finishing meals with this golden oil. Now, modern science has caught up, and the results are undeniable. Extra virgin olive oil is one of the most heart-protective foods you can put on your plate. What makes it so special comes down to its fat profile and antioxidant content. Extra virgin olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats, the kind that actually help lower LDL cholesterol, the bad kind that clogs your arteries. At the same time, it raises HDL cholesterol, the good kind that helps clear excess cholesterol from your bloodstream. And perhaps just as important, it fights inflammation, a silent, chronic process that plays a huge role in heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular problems as we age. But let's step away from theory for a moment and look at the real-world evidence. In 2013, the landmark Prudime study followed more than 400 adults between the ages of 55 and 80, all of whom were at high risk for heart disease. One group was asked to consume at least 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil per day. Another group followed a low-fat diet. After several years, the olive oil group had a 30% lower risk of major cardiovascular events, heart attack, stroke, or death from heart-related causes. That's not a small difference. That's life-changing. And it happened without any new medications, without surgery, just by adding a healthy fat to their daily meals. At 67, I've made extra virgin olive oil a non-negotiable part of my diet. This isn't about chasing a food trend or following the latest health craze. It's about being around for my grandchildren, about staying active enough to travel, walk the dog, or dance in the kitchen with my wife. Here's how I use it. I drizzle it over steamed vegetables instead of melting butter. I whisk it with lemon juice or balsamic vinegar to make a quick, fresh salad dressing. Sometimes I'll even stir a spoonful into a pot of warm soup right before serving. The silky texture and rich flavor make it feel indulgent, but I know my heart is getting a boost at the same time. Of course, I hear the same concerns over and over from people who are used to other cooking oils. Isn't olive oil too expensive? Doesn't it smoke too easily? My answer is always this: it's worth every penny for the quality and protection it offers, and if you use it properly, heat isn't a problem. Use it raw whenever you can over salads, fresh bread, or grilled vegetables, and when you do cook with it, keep the heat at low to medium to protect its delicate compounds. One of my patients, a woman in her 70s with borderline high cholesterol, was still cooking with margarine and refined seed oils when we first met. She made one change: she swapped every single oil in her kitchen for extra virgin olive oil. She didn't go on a crash diet or overhaul her entire lifestyle, just that one swap. 3 months later, her LDL cholesterol had dropped by 18 points and her energy levels were higher than she'd felt in years. If you decide to make the switch yourself, there are a few things you should know. First, always choose bottles labeled extra virgin and cold pressed. This ensures you're getting the highest quality oil with the most antioxidants, especially polyphenols, which have been linked to reduced inflammation and improved heart health. Second, store your oil in a dark bottle, away from light and heat, to preserve its flavor and nutrients. And third, don't save it for special occasions, make it part of your everyday meals. The benefits come from consistent use. Not once in a while. Here's the truth: Our hearts have worked tirelessly for decades, beating through every high and low, every moment of stress and joy. As we age, they deserve a little more care, a little more protection. And the beauty of extra virgin olive oil is that it's an easy, enjoyable way to give that care. You're not sacrificing flavor or enjoyment. You're adding richness, depth, and satisfaction to your meals while giving your heart what it needs to keep going strong. So the next time you reach for a bottle of oil, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this helping my heart, or is it silently working against it? Your answer could make all the difference in the years ahead. For me, I'll keep choosing the golden drizzle because I know it's one of the simplest, most delicious, and most impactful health choices I can make. Small habit, big impact. So there you have it, 5 powerful foods that can help support your heart after 60. From omega-3 rich salmon to antioxidant-packed berries, these aren't just health foods, they are tools for longevity, energy, and peace of mind. But here's the real question, which one of these will you start adding to your plate this week? Let us know in the comments, and if you've already made some heart-smart food swaps, we'd love to hear your story. Remember, healthy aging doesn't have to mean complicated rules or bland meals, just smart, simple choices, one bite at a time. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Health Tips 50 for more weekly content designed for your heart and your life after 50. Until next time, stay well, stay strong, and stay young at heart.